Hello, my friends. Welcome back to Melanie Smith Stamps. We are here today looking at the February 2026 My Monthly Hero card kit. This card kit comes with a whole bunch of stuff. We have the stencil that I'm working with today. This is the 4 layering stencil. Then there is a die set and a Stampin' Die along with a paper pack. So you get all of these items in the card kit of the month. So I am going to start with the stencil, and we're going to just jump in and play here and have a lot of fun with these pretty springtime colors. We're making 2 cards today, so I hope you'll stick around for the fun and see what we end up with. Then at the very end, I will share with you my craft roulette card of the week, and that will be at the very end using this kit as well. So this is the first layer here, and I just forgot I did not put my little registration marks down, so I had to layer this back up, and I'm just going to grab a little pen and mark down on my sticky mat right where those little registration marks are. They're little squares on these stencils. That way I don't have to worry about lining things up. I just find those little squares and it's perfect every time. Perfecto. I love that it sticks onto the sticky mat, and they do make these stencils from Hero slightly larger than the A2 size paper, so that you always have that nice sized border around to stick down onto the sticky mat. Some companies do make them exactly A2 size, and that makes it where you still need your tape. So I really do appreciate that they put that little extra thought into their stencils. Now I'm using some Altenew pretty colors here, and I will make sure we have these pastel colors on my supply list that'll be linked down below in the description box below the video. Those are affiliate links, and I do get a small commission when you click on them and shop. So if you do that, it is at absolutely no cost to you, but it does help support my channel. So I appreciate it anytime you use any of those links down in my description. Now this third color here, we're going to switch over now and work on the leaves. We already got our flowers done, so I'm just making sure it's lined up perfectly there. And I'm using the Altenew mini brushes as well, the mini blender brushes here. And when I started using this pastel, I realized this green is actually overlaying on top of some of the pink flower, where the leaf actually covers up the bottom of the bud. So I was a little concerned about that the green might not be dark enough to cover up that pink. And it wasn't quite dark enough, but it still worked out in the end. So you never know what's going to happen when you're working with layers. And because these are translucent inks, being dye-based, water-based inks, since they're translucent, you can see through them. So darker is always better if you're layering on top of another color. So just keep that in mind. Luckily for me, it still worked out. So this is our last layer, and we're going to go with the different darker green here. And I'm just going to fill this in, and we'll see what our final background looks like. And then I'm going to share or show you a picture of the final card, all jazzed up. The final card I added a die cut sentiment to. I just kept it very simple, which is why I'm not going to sit here and make it in front of you, because it's just a die cut from my stash of Hero Art products. It's not part of the club. And I just layered borders on the outside, a blue border and a silver mat. And then the blue and silver mat is also for the sentiment. So here is the background, all stenciled, all 4 layers. And here is the final card. Very sweet and simple. So now we're going to jump into the second card. We're going to do a little bit more work on this card. We are going to actually make it from beginning to end. This card here is made with the complete die set. It's a floral die set, and it has really long stems, but I've decided to use just the flower buds in the background of this card. We're going to ink blend each of the flowers with a little darker ink than the pattern or than the paper that I've chosen. And then we're going to add silver centers to each of the flowers. And then we're going to spread them out just sporadically on the front of our cardstock there and create an entire background for our card. So I will show you step by step how we're going to do this, and then how we're going to add a sentiment to the front to finish our card. So I'm using my picker tool there. I believe that's also Altenew's that I'm using. And like I said, I'll have all of these things written in my supply list. It's a visual supply list, which makes it really easy. You'll be able to see the pictures. So I love ink blending like this. Now here I'm ink blending in the center of my flower, whereas on the pink ones, I ink blended half of the pink flower. So I'm using a little variation on each one, and it just kind of gives it a little interest, in my opinion. So I just had fun with it and just played around to see how they would look. I'm using colors very similar to my paper, so I knew by just experimenting with each kind that it wouldn't matter in the end if one looked a little different than the other. I just was having fun with my ink and paper. And that, at the end of the day, is what really matters, is that you're having fun with your products and you're feeling free and having a good time in your craft room. And I hope that you will come and listen to or watch my videos and craft along with me. That's the whole idea. So if you have a kit and you want to craft along, feel free to come over and put my videos on. I would love to craft with you anytime. That's why I always say craft life together. So I'm putting these little tiny, tiny glitter centers into the center of these yellow flowers here. And having the wax tip on the tool makes it so much easier. Usually I cheat and I will put, for the little tiny ones like this, I will put rhinestones. But for this one, I decided to do all silver centers. I wanted silver to be a continuing factor in my cards today. So I did the silver centers. And honestly, the glitter silver paper was a scrap on my desk. So I'm using up those scraps, guys. Give me some kudos. And how about, you got to made it halfway through the video right now. So how about, if you've made it this far, if you'll put the word scraps down below, I'll know you at least made it halfway. That'll make me happy. So, of course, the longer the video you watch, the better it is for YouTube and the nicer YouTube is for us. So, watching the video all the way to the end is always a way that you can help your favorite creators do better on YouTube. So, that's something, doesn't cost you anything at all, just a few extra minutes, and it makes a big deal when it comes to the wonderful world of the algorithms with YouTube. So, thank you so much for doing that for us. So just adding these little tiny centers. But before I do, I have to ink up these last ones and get those ones fixed too. These are one layer ones, so they're pretty easy. I realized, after I started doing this, I realized I was inking over my sticky mat. So I was putting them on the white paper before I actually added extra glue. And that helped. I don't want to put lots of glue on my sticky mat. So I'm just kind of moving them around until I like it. There's my sentiment that we'll be using. And that sentiment is from an Stamp XL and Cut die set from Hero Arts called Smile Friend Stamp and Cut XL. And it has two really large sentiments in it. One says smile and one says friend. And then it has a 4x6 stamp set in it as well that coordinates with the friend and the smile word so that you can have sub-sentiments. But what I'm going to do today is use one of the sentiments that actually is in the My Monthly Hero kit, and we're going to coordinate that with the friend die, just to be a little different. I wanted to use more of the kit instead of just the dies out of my stash. So I found one that I think works really well with this sentiment. So I'm just getting these glued down, and you noticed I'm putting some of them over the edges of the cards, the card edge, and that just gives it a continuous look. And we're going to cut off those little extras over the edge at the end here. And it gives the finished card just this continuous look. Like if you don't do that, it just seems like you just slap stuff on the page. So give that a try if you've never done that before, and you'll really like the way the finished card looks. So that piece right there, I was not sure I wanted to actually put that blue one there, or if I wanted to put a piece that I might be cutting off this edge here. And I saw that that purple right there was really larger, and I knew that could actually go in that spot. So I'm just telling you what I'm kind of thinking at this moment. I'm wondering which would be better, the blue or the purple. So we're going to try that out right now. We're going to try the purple and see what it would look like. And now most of this is going to be under the word friend. So it's not really going to show much. And that's what ultimately made my choice. It actually looks better on the background with the purple. But then when you put the word friend over it, it kind of takes away from the F in friend. So I decided to go with the blue, even though the blue on its own doesn't look as good as the purple. But when you put the sentiment over top of it, it does look better. So that's how I made my decision. And I like giving you guys my train of thought because it just adds to the design aspect, and I hope those little tips and ideas help you in your designing as well. So the sentiment from the kit that I'm using is "You're the best." So it says "You're the best friend," and I heat embossed that in black on white, and then I stacked it so it's taller as well. And we're just going to add these little pieces of foam tape, and I'm cutting it down. I do that a lot with the Altenew foam tape. I cut it to the size I need it. And then we're just going to put this on here. I pulled all those foam backings off. Didn't make you have to sit through that. I'm always conscious on your time because I appreciate you being here. So we're just going to glue this on a very, very fine black border, and I'm doing that just to pull in the sentiment itself because it's stamped in black. So I just added a tiny black border, very, very small, because I want the pastels to be the main event. I want it to stay spring feeling. So I hope you have enjoyed this card making today. And if this is a kit that interests you, the superhero kit has already sold out. So it might be something you'll want to go check out. So here are the finished cards for all three of the cards I made with the kit this month. This is the first one that we did today. And then here is the second. And then here is Craft Roulette. Have a good day.